Hello guys, I'm so excited for today's video because I'm going to be reading City of Ashes. I have read City of Bones in my holiday vlog. If you haven't seen that, here it is. But I completely fell in love with the Shadowhunters saga. I knew I already loved it because I loved the show, but reading the books is just so much better, and they're just so full of action and gossip. They're just so fun to read. I did talk about hesitating whether to buy the series on physical books or not, but I completely fell in love, so I had to, and I splurged for the US versions, which are completely floppy, and they have the most amazing spines. It makes a whole picture. There is nothing in the way, which is what annoyed me about the UK versions. They had like block things on it. I wasn't a fan. These books just feel like a throwback to the books I used to read when I was a teenager. All those YA books full of drama, and I don't know. This series just makes me feel things, and it's just so easy to read. Without making this intro any longer, let's get into it. I love this. I don't know if this was in the previous book because I didn't have it on a physical book, but it's just so good. I can imagine it so much better now. It's nice to have a visual. It's just so wow, I can't, like I said a million times before, it's just taking me back to 2010s. The language in this, and like I think the sentence structure is just so different than what we have nowadays, I think, or at least what I have been reading. I don't know. In the first book, I wanted to just do a little recap. In the first book, we were following Clary that has just discovered that she's a little bit different and that all the stories are true, which means that vampires, werewolves, warlocks are real. And she is part of a race. I don't know what it's called. I don't know. That's called Shadowhunters, and she has special abilities. We've met Valentine. We found out that he is both Jace's and Clary's father. Ooh. Oh, Jace, after finding out that him and Clary are related, is acting a little bit weird, acting a little bit mad. They're a bit awkward with each other. At the beginning of the book, Clary is kind of like on the outs with the Shadowhunters, like with Jace and Alec and Isabel. I mean, Jace she kind of talks to because obviously now it's her brother, so she's kind of not hanging out with them. She doesn't go to the institute. She doesn't partake in any Shadowhunters activities. She's just concerned for Jace because obviously he's acting a little bit out of character. He's acting out, basically. He's a teenage boy and he's acting out. And because Jace is acting out, and because Jace has been found out to be Valentine's son, everyone in the institute, in the clave, the government of the Shadowhunters, if you will, considers him a kind of spy, or like, I don't know, a villain. They think he was in on everything that Valentine did, and they're kind of blaming him for whatever happened with Valentine. So he has to go to a kind of hearing, and he gets put in jail, and when he's there, there's an attack. Yeah. So Clary finds out from Isabel. They race there and try to get Jace out because obviously they're concerned for him. And now I'm on part 2. Sometimes the phrasings of sentences or like the metaphors, they're just so vivid. And this is about kissing, but like it's such a nice quote. Clary says, "Kissing Simon was pleasant. It was a gentle sort of pleasant, like lying in a hammock on a summer day with a book and a glass of lemonade." It's just so nicely written. Like the metaphors, when you get them, I just think they're very artful in a way. They just kind of invoke a lot of emotions in me, just make me feel things, you know? and it makes the reading experience so much more fun because I can kind of imagine what that feeling would be, and it's not just like said, oh, this was pleasant, like so yeah. Anyway, let me go into part 2. I am reading this really fast. I've only been reading for like 2 hours. Just so easy to read, and that's what I love about it. We're finally getting Alec and Magnus, and it's so adorable. They're my favorite part about Shadowhunters, and I'm not afraid to say it. They're just the best. I mean, there's nothing romantic yet, but their interactions are always just so cute. Like, I can't. Okay, so in this book there starts to be a lot of mysterious killings of downworlders, like werewolves, vampires, and warlocks and fairies. And at first, vampires are the first suspects because all the victims are drained of blood, and obviously that's what vampires do, but it's not vampires. And Clary and Jace are caught in the middle of the action as always. They start being suspicious of these murders and they start investigating them along with Simon and Alec and Isabel. Of course, the dynamic between them all kind of changes. Clary and Jay start being very awkward with each other. They kind of still have like feelings for each other, but obviously they're related. So Clary starts hanging out with Simon more. In my opinion, Simon is really annoying in this book, and it kind of makes sense for like a 16-year-old boy or 17-year-old boy. I get it. But oh my god, he's treating her like the most hopeless tiny deer. He just thinks she can't do anything by herself and that she's just like tiny and doesn't know how to defend herself. He wants her to be something that she's not, and he always views her as like this kind of girlfriend that should be just there and not have like any other life except for him. That's kind of the vibe he's giving. They have this whole weird vibe with themselves to figure out. I feel like this book is just very all over the place in that sense. Like those dynamics in relationships, they're kind of being a bit weird, and like new things are starting to develop, and we have new characters, so new bonds start to form. That whole section of the vampire sucking Jace's blood was very intimate. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there are fanfics about them because it makes sense. Because what was that? That was so much chemistry between them. What? I was not expecting that. Why was there so much tension? Like, maybe we need that. Maybe that should be canon. I can't decide whether to give this 3.5 stars or 4. I did enjoy it, but I don't know if it was just me this week or something. I just didn't want to read, and I don't know if it was the problem with the book or just me. So it was a bit different than the first book. In the first book, we only had Clary's POV. It's written in third person, but we are seeing the world through Clary's eyes in a way. And in this book, we are getting a lot of new different POVs. We get Alex's POV, we get a lot of Jace's POV, we get a little bit of Simon, a little bit of Maya. So there's a lot of different lenses we're looking at and a lot of different storylines, which I think maybe that's what was taking me out of the story a little bit, because in the first book we only had Clary and I was used to her voice. There wasn't a lot of cliffhangers. In this book there was a lot of cliffhangers cliffhangers, but we would change from one POV to another, and that would be left for a little bit on a cliffhanger. Even though I say these books are very fun and it's kind of more like reading to escape, reading for entertainment, I do think that they tackle problems of racism. Obviously, this is a children's book. This is a book that was written for teenagers around 10 years ago. It might be basic, but those concepts go into children's heads, and I appreciate that. We're treating werewolves, warlocks, vampires as different races, and we're trying to say that they also have the right to exist. They also have the right to be treated as equally as the shadow hunters, which have angel's blood. And so obviously it's different, and like I said, it's a children's book. It's not gonna be very complex ideas put into this, but it's said in a way that a kid could understand, and they could start thinking about things like inclusivity early on. I like that aspect of it. I also like how we're just getting to kind of develop confidence and critical thinking through Clary's and Jace's POVs. They definitely grow up a lot. They start being more kind of self-sufficient. They learn how to fight for their own beliefs. So I definitely enjoyed that aspect a lot as well. I think I will be going straight into the City of Glass after this. So if you want to see that, that is going to be my next video, I think. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!